Will the presentation secrets of Steve Jobs by Carmine Gallo help you to become a better presenter? We're going to cover that, answer that question here in just a couple of minutes. Let's talk about what's in this book. Carmine Gallo breaks this book up into 3 major sections. He calls each section an act. Act 1 is called Create Your Story. Act 2 is called Deliver the Experience. Act 3 is called Refine and Rehearse. We're going to touch on each of those acts so as to give you a sense of what each act consists of. After going through those acts, then we'll give an overall summary of the book and whether or not it will help you to become a better presenter. Let's start with act number 1, Create Your Story. In this act, Carmine Gallo recommends that during the creation process, we start off by hand. He calls this creating in analog. This is in contrast to creating in digital. If we started off digitally, we would start off by, on our computer, opening up PowerPoint and starting the creation process there. I read somewhere that there's something about the connection between the brain and the hand that makes the creation process more effective when we start off by hand. This is what Carmine Gallo recommends. Sounds like a great idea. Carmine Gallo also recommends that we draw a verbal roadmap for our audience. At the beginning of this presentation, this book review, I said that we're going to cover each of the acts followed by an overall summary. That was a verbal roadmap. That tells you, the listener, what we're going to be covering during this talk. Carmine Gallo also recommends that we reveal the conquering hero during our talk. What's the conquering hero? The conquering hero is your idea, your product, your service that's going to help your listener to solve a problem. We also should tell of the antagonist. The antagonist is the villain. What is the antagonist? It is the problem that your conquering hero is going to conquer. Act number 2, Deliver the Experience. In this act, Carmine Gallo has some of the following recommendations. He recommends that we should keep our slides simple and free of clutter if we're using slides. He recommends that each slide should focus on one idea only. Keeping our slides simple and free of clutter, having them focus on a single idea, helps that idea, that message that the slide is trying to, or that you're trying to convey with the slide, to be crystal clear to your audience. Carmine Gallo also recommends that we use props. For example, in this presentation, this book is a prop. I'll have a couple more books as props in just a couple minutes. But we should use props. So that's another suggestion in this section of the book, this act number 2, Deliver the Experience. And the overall intent, or at least as I took it, the overall intent of this section is to keep the presentation interesting for your viewer. Let's go on to act number 3, Refine and Rehearse. In this act, Carmine Gallo tells us really how to become true presentation professionals, how we can up our game and stand out among the presentation crowd. He talks about eye contact. He talks about how we should dress. He talks about gestures and the fact that we should have open gestures rather than closed gestures in front of our audience. He also talks about practice, which is perhaps the most important activity that we can take on that will help us to become true presentation masters. He talks about the amount of practice that Steve Jobs put in and that others put in to master their craft. And it is eye-opening, it's astounding how much time these guys put into mastering their craft. That is an overall summary of the book, The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs. Overall, this book, The Presentation of Steve Jobs by Carmine Gallo, is a collection of tips on how to make your talk better. Each tip is useful. Each tip is good. All the tips are practical. Because of that, I'll say this book is useful. It's practical. How could this book be made even better? In my opinion, I think the book could be made better by giving us a blueprint on how to create a talk, opening, body, and conclusion. I think also if Carmine Gallo included a blueprint on creating an effective and powerful story, that would be helpful. Just like a well-built house is built using good blueprints, a well-built story is built using foundational principles and according to a specific blueprint. There are other books on this topic, on the topic of presentation, that might help in this regard. Here's one of them, Lead with a Story by Paul Smith. He goes through the blueprint of how to create an effective story. In this book, Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath, there's a section on creating your story. They talk about the types of stories that are effective in talks. I wish Carmine Gallo had gone more into that blueprint, the type of story that would help to move our audience. I think that would have made this book over the top excellent. As it stands, it's very good. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. It is definitely worthy of being placed on your library or in your library, the speaker's library. The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs is a very good book. I recommend it highly. Get it, check it out, use its tips, and you will become a better speaker.